like audio
Okay,
unmuted.
we're gonna be recording now. So, welcome to the contest meeting, the contest talk that we have. We usually do, or I do, a contest or a soda talk every year, depending on the interest of the students that I have. I teach both levels, uh, beginning and intermediate. So this year it was more a contest, but actually it was a probably 50-50. So luckily I recorded last year's soda talk, so I was able to send those out. So this year you guys have gotten both. So I plan on doing that from now on, and I can use this recorded one too. So the intro into this talk really is what I want to do is introduce contesting as not so much a competitive type of thing. I'm not a competitive contester. I always like to say I'm not a contester at all, but I've been in a lot of contests, and but I use them for different things. I usually don't like to beat people, and that's not a contester's mentality. But I do like to increase my operational skills, and I like to test my station. I like to test my antennas to see how well they're doing, and I use contests. The way I started was using contests for awards to get DXCCs. I was a DXer. I was a DXer from the novice days in 1964. I think my first DX was Hawaii. I ran around the house. I was 15 years old. Couldn't believe it. So we just took it from there. So contesting is a great way to look for worked all states, worked all continents awards, various DXCC awards, ARRL DXing awards, not to mention the regular contesting awards that you can get from the contest sponsors and things like that. But the bottom line is you don't need to be competitive to be a contester. You just have to have something in mind that you want to test out, whatever it may be, working new contacts, working new countries, whatever. And it's a lot of fun. It really is. And I'll tell you what, I didn't have CWA in those days or anything like that. Contesting was the main thing that increased my skills. And because as we preach in CWA all the time, at least I do in my classes, you need to be challenged. You can't just sit back and copy 100% right all the time and pat yourself on the back, and you're not going to increase your skill that way. So contesting did that for me. All kinds of different contests, DX contest, US contests, field day. Although field day is not a contest, it's an emergency type of a operation. But it sure looks and smells like a contest when you're in it. Okay, so that's a good thing to start to get in is field day if you're just starting contesting. We want to talk a little bit about the overall look. I don't know if you guys can switch over just to me without looking at everybody else, unless you want to look at everybody else, that's fine. But this is a basic contest screen that I use. It's static right here, it's behind me. We'll be switching over to real live on the air as we speak. What's going on right now. There happens to be a contest going on right now. However, it's not a CW contest. It's a big contest for those guys, the RIDI contest. It's a CQ Worldwide WPX, a prefix contest. There are sideband, CW, RIDI, worldwide contests every year. The WPX one is kind of interesting for people who have exotic calls. Exotic meaning you're not a K, you're not an A, you're not a W kind of a thing. Like David over there, KK6M. I have a contest call, KQ7M. You don't see those running around every day. It's actually the first prefix, first few letters. KQ7 would be the prefix. So if you get on the air right now with the KQ7 call, I'm sure you'll have a giant pile up. You may be the only one in the contest. So everybody, you're a multiplier, and we'll get into scoring and in contests and things like that. But it kind of helps people, the WPX, into being DX themselves. You know, you're the hunted. So you're not always the hunter. When you start out in contesting, you're usually searching, pouncing. You're not the hunter. You are the hunter, but it's nice to be the hunted sometimes because you generate interest. People want to work you. So this is essentially on my large station. This is what it looks like when I run a CWT. In fact, this is a CWT screen right here. And in this case, I'm going to talk about all these different windows. I think there's 10 or 11 of them up there right now. They all can be used, or they don't all have to be used. That's what's nice about N1MM. N1MM is the most popular contest software there is. There's other ones, and they're good too. This one's free. Some of the other ones aren't. You have to pay a yearly fee. But N1MM has done well for me. It's the reason it's done well, I think, is because the people who originate this contest software are world-class contesters themselves. If anything changes in any contest anywhere, boom, that's up there. That change is in there. And usually you get a change a week, and they're doing something or other to it. But it does so many things, and I don't even use them all, that's for sure. So I'm just going to tell you about the basic ones. I'm not an expert in this by any shake, but I've done it a little bit, and maybe I can pass on some information that might be helpful to you. And that's why we're doing this meeting, also to stir up some interest. So in this case, there is something a little different in this. This particular screen has two band maps, and we'll talk about band maps later. But this is a VFO1, and this is a VFO2 right here. Usually, you would only have, if you're only using a single VFO, which is a normal operation in a contest, you just have one of those screens up. This is set up for SO2V, SO, single operator, 2 VFOs. So if you have an A and a B VFO, you can run on one VFO and search and pounce on the other VFO. With the caveat, it's all on the same band, which is different than SO2R you always hear about, which is 2 radios, 2 separate radios. You can run on different bands. You can even, the best guys can run on both radios at the same time. It's just amazing what these guys can do. So generally, when you start out, you'll be using your single VFO. That's what I would recommend. But I just wanted to let you know in this case, there is an extra screen. So we'll kind of dive off into here. Let me share the screen now. First of all, everybody can see Contest University right here? Yes, yes? Yes, yes. Okay. This is a great web page to go to. Boy, you can just find just about anything you want to know about contesting on this web page. And again, we were talking about it before this class or talk began, and it's really a depository of all the talks given at Dayton. Every year at Dayton, there is a new, it would be a Dayton 2020 Contest University, which is held at Dayton. And sometimes they broadcast it live, but you can go to past years here, and these are all videos. So you can look at any particular video you want to. It's all free. So it's a great place. These are some of the best contesters there are. As a matter of fact, there's K3LR right there. That's the DX Engineering owner. So he's talking about contest station optimization. So that's one of the fun things about contesting. Optimize your own station. Do, improve yourself. Um, I like to tell a story in a lot of my classes where I started with this is um, I found out I was all right at code, 28, something like that. And that's doable, very doable. But it could be better when you want to run. And we'll talk about running and searching and pouncing the difference. But when you want to run, in other words, you want to call CQ, it's nice to be at least in the 30s, 30, 32 words a minute on average. And so um, this listening, to contesting and things like that helped me bring up my speed level to where I could run. And also using Roofsy, actually, the other contest software. So anyway, if you want to, go ahead and dial these guys up, Contest University on the web. Just search it, Google it, Contest University. Maybe you have to put in ham radio Contest University. And it'll bring up this web page and you can just go to town. And in fact, here's the course outline for this coming year. So anyway, just wanted to let you know there's a lot of things on the web that you can go to learn more about contesting. This is just kind of an overview here. So now let's go next. Stop the share on new share. So what happens? Say you want to do a contest. How do you do it? What contest will you operate? What do you don't know anything about contesting. And so, or you turn on the rig one Saturday and you see your whole screen light up if you have a pen adapter, or you hear a lot of signals anyway on the air. What is going on? What in the world is going on? So this is the gold standard for finding contests to operate on and also what's going on. So in other words, you'll dial up WA7 BNM contest calendar, and you can see it's broken down into a whole bunch of different 8-month, 8-day and 12-month. It just goes on and on. So you can just look up the date, see what's going on in that date. I would have taken it down into this month here, but then I would have lost this first part. So I decided just to leave it in January here. But you can see there's contests or multiple contests every weekend of the year. So you're not hurting for ways to practice your skills, that's for sure. So be sure and remember that. and I go to it quite often to find out. Now, when you go to it, say you find a contest that you're interested in here. Here's an ARRL Reedy Roundup, some of the big ones. North American QSO Party. It's a great North American QSO Party, CW. You want to work to all states? Work that one. You might be able to do it in one contest. So it's a great way to do it. I know when I worked all states, I want to do something a little bit different. So I did a all 160 meter one. So they happen to have a 160 meter QSO party. That's how I got my worked all states 160 meters. Okay, now, next, you click on one of those, click on one of these, and you'll come to a page like this. And the one I clicked on here was the North American QSO Party, CW. So it's going to tell you if you want to operate in it, all kinds of information about it, what bands, what classes there are, what categories, single op, QRP, low power, a multi operation, how long the contest is, how long you can operate, what the power requirements are. This particular one's 100 watts, period. And they do have QRP. And the exchange, name, state, bill, AZ. That's it. Real easy. That's why we practice in level 1 all the time. Practice your name, practice your call. Sound familiar? Work stations once per band, because you've got all these bands to work on. You can work me on every band you want, all these bands one time. Okay, and how the scoring goes too, the multipliers. Okay, let's get into multipliers and QSO points. Multipliers are just what they say, a multiplier for your QSOs, the number of QSOs that you do. So each state, including Washington, D.C., is a multiplier. So in other words, if I work somebody in California, and I'm here in Arizona, well, that's 1 QSO, and that's 1 multiplier. 1 times 1 is 1. If I work, and that would be my score. If I work California again, now that's 2 Californians, but only 1 multiplier. I already worked California. 2 times 1 is 2. So now if I work another state, so I work somebody in New Mexico, okay? So now that's 3 QSOs, 2 multipliers, that's 6. So I went from 2 to 6. So you can see how multipliers are a big, big deal. And you always work multipliers. In a DX contest, they'll be countries, not states. So you read the directions here and all that sort of thing. If you want the whole readout and from the sponsor on the rules and regulations of the contest, all you got to do is click down here, and it'll take you right to the NCGA webpage for the QSO parties, and it'll tell you everything you want to know about it. Where to submit your score if you're interested in submitting a score. Just because you're in a contest doesn't mean you need to submit a score. So you can just work it for fun. However, then that's fine. I've done that before. But it's nicer and more congenial with the sponsor and the people that you work to submit a score, even if you don't follow the rules. Let's say, I think I'll operate in a North American QSO party, and I'm going to run more than 100 watts. Can I do that? Is that legal? Sure, it's legal, but not for rules in the contest. It's not legal. You can do it, but you're not eligible for any award in that contest. You can submit what's called a check log. A check log. That means you've done something irregular to the rules, and you could submit that. Now, why is that a good thing to submit? Why would somebody want that? Because they use that to check contacts of the people who followed all the rules to make sure that they're legitimate, and for busted calls. Busted calls is, well, I work K0NP, and it comes in the log K0NP, and here's my check log coming in from K0MP, and he's not in my log. Oops, that's a busted call. The guy copied my call wrong. Doesn't count. So they use it to check other logs. Your log is just a check log. That's what they call it, why they call it a check log. So, or you don't have to submit it at all. It's your choice. So that's what it looks like. That's how you would figure out a contest schedule for you. At the beginning of every year, I used to, I did about 13 contests a year. And most of them were all in CW. In Denver, I also did RIDI. Well, I did them all, but sideband, everything. But RIDI, CW were the main ones I concentrated on. Beginning of the year, I'd go through this contest calendar, and I'd write it all down. All the contests. When is the CQ Worldwide DX CW? Those are the big ones. When is ARRL DX? By the way, ARRL DX is coming up next week. You could use this in that. If you want to work new countries, here's your chance. I know I did a few semesters ago. I just got on one time with my soda station here. Runs 100 watts. Just for fun, and we were talking about it in the class, you know, and some other students were going to get on and work. Well, shoot, I got on, and I think I worked about, I don't know, like 30 some countries in about 2 hours, you know, just with 100 watts. With well, I'll just hold that back. Strategy, how you do those things. But anyway, at the beginning of the year, write down all the interesting contests that you might want to do. Then you won't miss them. Then just put it on your own calendar. Say those are the ones I'm interested in. So, okay, let's see. Now we're going to talk about strategy. Some of the strategy. This is my strategy. Others may have other like it, but this is mine, right? This is my gun. This is my, no. Here's the deal. If you want to be competitive, if you have a big station, 200-foot towers, stacked arrays, all bands, you know, full up everything, go for it. You know, you're going to need to move to the East Coast. I mean, we're talking about winning the US or something. Yeah, you're not going to do it from here. I remember when I bought my first amp, and I was asking an East Coast guy about the interconnections and things like that. And he says, you can't win from out there. I was in Denver. I said, I know it. Doesn't mean I can't have an amp. So it's interesting thing. This is why you got to scale down your expectations. Okay. There's nothing wrong with being competitive. Maybe you got a friend. Maybe Steve and I live, you know, 20 miles apart, and we have equal stations and that sort of thing, and we want to have a fun and just see who wins or something like that. Great. That's fine. That's fun. But if you want to win something, you want to win a certificate, here's your mentality anyway. Doesn't mean you're going to win one. You go to 3830, and we'll be talking about 3830 web page after we go through N1MM, because that's how you submit a score, and we'll talk about that. You also submit a score to the contest sponsor. That's the actual the people that you really want to put your log into to get credit for awards, whatever. 3830 is something that a lot of people use to put in their scores right after the contest. And these are called raw scores. You may have mistakes in your log. You may have busted calls in your log. The sponsor will find that out for you. But this is your raw score. And just for fun, you put it into this 3830. Same thing that we do with CWTs, how we submit our scores. And you can see kind of generally how you shake out. There could be some dark horses in there that don't put it in. So you don't know that, you know, you're really at that scoring level. And this is what you do. You'd go back, let's say I wanted to work CQ Worldwide this year in 2020. If it's not all over with yet. So I would go back to 2019. This happens to be 2019 right here. And I'm looking through different, the whole thing, you know, and the multis and the, you know, the 30 million point guys and all that. Well, of course, what would you do if you had a big station like that? And wouldn't you use everything you had to win the biggest prize? So you're going to use all your stations. If it's multi, you're going to use all the power you can, all the big antennas you got. Do you want to go head on head with those guys? I don't think so. Not if you're going to be competitive, if you want to be competitive. So what you do is you look for little categories. You know, think small, because us little guys are small with our stations. So can you win, let's say, your state? Can you win your division? In other words, could I win Arizona? Could I win, you know, the Northwest here? Could I win the 7th call area? Those kinds of things, depending on what contest you're in. So you look at these little niches and who's in them. Who Who is competitive in those little things? So in scrolling down in this 2019, these are the submitted scores. So we can see up here, single op, single band, 10 meters. Well, 10 meters is dead, right? Nobody wants to operate 10 meters. Bingo. Nobody wants to operate 10 meters. Okay, you got my attention because I don't have to score hardly any points to do well, right? I just have to work a few guys. Okay, but this is high power. So 10 meters, you know, you're going to be competing with guys with Yagis. You're going to, in this category, you're going to compete with guys with high power, with amps, big amps. But just go on down here. Look at this. Single up, single band, 10, low power, 100 watts. Okay, so here's a guy down in South America. Here's one guy in the United States. So right now, this guy won the United States in this category. How about this guy? Single up, single band, 10 meters, QRP. Tough row to hoe, right? He only made 15 QSOs. Sucker won the world. Won the world. Nobody else is there. So those are the kind of things you do. And I know I've done it myself and won some things that I had no business winning. I think I was 8th in the world one time in QRP. Nobody else wanted to run it, you know. Am I 8th in the world kind of guy? I don't think so. But I got it only because nobody else was there. I think I was 2nd in the United States. You know, you just pick your category going in. You don't go into single op, all band, high power, even QRP. You have to watch out because there's plenty of guys with big stations running QRP. So all these back issues sort of the scores in the contest that you're interested in are worth going through to find out where you best fit in. When the propagation was very good, several years ago, when it was good, several years ago, everybody was working the high bands. 15 was hot. 15 was smoking. And I know here in the Outlaws Contest Club here in Arizona, you know, a lot of guys are doing single band 15. All the DX is on the high bands. So what did I do? I worked 80. Who wants to get up in the middle of the night? Who wants to stay up all night? I do. And you do well. You do real well. You may not win, you know, the United States or anything, but you got a shot at, you know, your state, you know, your division, something like that. Get up early, knowing, well, this is the next slide that's going to come up. But anyway, pick your category. That's what you do. So there's a lot of prep work that goes into this contesting if you want to be serious about it. Or you don't have to do this prep work at all. Just get on and work some contacts. The next thing you do in the prep work, look at the propagation. Go to vocab. You know, I send out a paper every year to all my classes on vocab prediction software. The bands you're going to be on, when is the best time? Don't waste your time being on dead bands, you know. So maximize your time and do a good job. You know, it'll be easier on you in the long run. So do your homework. Works a lot better. Let's see, what else have I got here? All right. Next, we finally come down to N1MM. So this is a little prep, you know, on how to prepare for a contest. Now we need software to actually log the contest and help us run in the contest. And you won't believe how much this software will do for you. So this is, you first of all go to the N1MM webpage. And here down, you can download it and install it. Now, the nice thing about N1MM is they'll walk you through. Now, this is a pretty comprehensive contest software program. but they have how-to videos. Getting started, download and install. Watch the video. Um, Launching, understanding the databases and logs. You can keep lots of logs. You can keep every log that you're a contester in. So depending on how much you want to keep. Understanding the function keys, that's a big deal. This is how you send your information if you're not hand sending, and then how to define those messages once you do that. So, and there's more videos on down the page. This is just the start of them. So this is a very, very good place to begin after you download and how to do it, especially this one here. So let's see. And it's free, doesn't cost anything. Updated, as I said before, about once a week. So it's kept up very, very well and is the most popular software program. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty here. And okay, everybody see that? It's the full up, and you're seeing the spectrum, the whole thing. Okay, good. This is it. Now, what you're looking at right now is the live picture of the band right now. This is 20 meters as we speak. And you're seeing it. This is not my large station. I'm putting quotes up that you can't see, but or maybe you can, I don't know. But this is what I run on SOTA. And the last month or so, what I'm running on CWTs, mainly because I've sent my other rig back, my K3S, and it's getting updated in at Elecraft right now. So I'm on the small station. So this is a little laptop, 16, 17-inch screen. You can see I'm star for space right here. I've got a lot of windows up. And here's the way we start. We want to start with the main entry window because this is what you're going to see when you first get your download. This one right down here at the bottom in the middle. This is the entry window. This is where when you copy a call sign, you'll enter it in right here, type it in. And we'll just do one here. You can see I'm on 20 meters. This is fully hooked up to my radio right now. But first of all, I want to go over how you would operate this without all this interconnection, all this foo-for-all that we've got going on here, because everything is talking to everything else. And that's pretty complicated, but it's good to know about it. But how do you use it? If you just want to download it, all I want to do is download the contest software and log my contacts. That's it, okay? I have to, if I want to tune my radio, I'll tune my radio myself, okay? We won't worry about N1MM doing it. So you'll wind up with this window right here, and your other window, the log window, will be here. Okay, you can move these windows anywhere you want, make them as big as you want, change colors, do all kinds of things with them. But this is the main one that you'll be using, and this is the one where you set everything up. Okay, so all these windows, all the stuff on the sides, both sides will be gone. You'll just have this window and your log window. So first of all, you'll want to set things up. We'll just go through this and take a look and see what we've got here. The main file window. This is where we generate new files, log files. So in other words, if we want to work in this case, a CWT, this is what's set up here right now. Can you guys see that window that just came up? See that? Yes. Okay. Good. You'd go up and you'd set your date and time for your CWOP, CWT right here, and put on all your information here: low power, all band, single op, assisted, We're using a cluster down here. And name and exchange, the whole thing like that. Also, over here, we have associated files. We have in this case, we have a history file. So this is, you could look at it as a cheat file if you wanted to, but I'll show you how that works. It has every CW op name and exchange, their membership number, in that file, and I'll show you how that works. So that's where I would go to set up the internal CWT file. If I wanted to, let's go back here. I could set up a new, whoops, wrong one. Get back here.
Bill, what's assisted mean?
Assisted means you're getting spots. The spots coming in from the cluster rather than me tuning for them on the radio. Okay, y'all, it'll become clear here in a little while. New database, new login a database. Isn't that the one I just clicked? So what if I want to operate a different contest? Look at these contests. Tell me this isn't comprehensive here. These are all contests. All contests. They just go on and on. So you click on those contests, it'll change all this information in here. Whatever information that's required in that contest, there'll be little windows to fill out for those contests. So in other words, if I wanted to switch over to CQ Worldwide CW, I click right there. That would change all this stuff over to it'll ask for zones then instead of membership number, that sort of thing. So the bottom line to take away from this is there's a lot of contests that N1M handles. And I won't change it right now. Okay. Now I'll go back. You can do a lot of different things in here, but you can export. This is how you send in your log to 3830 for a CWT type of contest. It'll export the ADF file from your log into like my download file, and then I can just send that on into 3830, and I'm good to go in a CWT if I have 10 or more contacts. So you can see some of the other logs that I've submitted. So,
hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Hey, so you actually upload an ADFI file to 3830, or I just
no, I use that for the tools, you know, do that. Yeah,
I
you
just
do.
use a scoring window to type it in.
Yeah, for the score, but I'm sorry. I export my log file in ADIF so I can submit it for those, you know, the award things. They changed it over to the guy in Germany. He's actually the guy that wrote QRQ software. So he needs the ADAF file. The actual, and we'll go into that, submitting an actual CWT score into 3830 at the end of this talk here. That's one of the things that we'll do. So let's go on to the next thing here. Edit. There's a lot of shortcuts. A lot of shortcuts in N1MM. And the reason why do we do all these shortcuts? Like wipe out all entry fields. We type something in that we don't like. We can just do Control W, right? And it'll wipe out all the fields. Edit last contact, Control Y. Maybe you got you logged it up in here, it'll go up in here, and we'll do this in a minute. But you wanted to change something. You got the exchange wrong or something like that. You can go in and edit on the fly during the contest a exchange. A lot of things like that. Max rates, off times, runs, all this stuff. After the fact or even during the fact, you can get a graphic analysis of how fast you are, how fast, what were your max rates, how fast did you go, what's the fastest you went in the contest, what was your off times, because sometimes like in a QSO party, I think it's you can operate 10 of 12 hours and you have to take off so much time. This keeps track of the time that you take off. So anyway, statistics of your log, kind of the same thing, only it's a big conglomerate. Different things that you can do, show sunrise, sunset times, and we'll go into that right down here, but when we get to that window. Tools, this is pretty nice here. All kinds of different things, rescore this current contest. I'm going to go over some of the things that, the top things that you would use. Download and install the latest, check partial. This is a large file of everybody that's interested in some and has submitted a log in contest, any contest. Big file. It's got all their call signs in it. You can update that and you'll see why that you would need that here in a minute. You can download the latest update in the logger. Here, you can download, if you're going to work the CQ Worldwide DX or ARRL DX file next week or contest, you would download and install. Now this does it all itself. Used to be you had to download a little file in your download file in your computer and then cut and paste it into the program. Not anymore. You just click that, boom, it'll download it right away. All kinds of different things. You can turn rotors, you know, Yagis and things like that. There's lots of different things. Also, once you find out how many windows you want up here, what do you want to keep track of? And you can save your window position. So the next time you turn on N1MM, boom, it'll come right back up just like this did. This didn't just happen. I spent a little while getting all these windows fitted in here. So I wanted to save those positions, boom, it'll do it. If you change one and you don't like the position of it, you can restore the windows to where they used to be. Basic things like that. That was the tools. Now, config. This is where you do most of your work here when you first get your download. And if you want to interconnect, especially your radio, first of all, let's do station data. The first thing they'll be asking you is this kind of stuff. I guess you can probably see this window up here. Yeah, because you can, it's a screen. You know, what's your call sign? What's your name? This is all automated. So when you submit your score, it has all the information. So it puts it in the Cabrillo file format and away you go. You don't have to do it every time. So that's one thing you'll be entering now. The next thing though is this guy. This is the interconnection between the computer and the Elecraft KX3. Also, the COM3 is the CW keyer. So I have a WIN keyer, USB, got a USB. This is where you set those sort of things. The baud rates, the COM port number over here. So they talk to one another, okay? Function keys. You want to send like leading zeros. In other words, your first contact, do you want to send 1 or do you want to send 001? You check whether you want to or not. Send cut numbers. Do you want cut numbers? If you want cut numbers, you can go down here and say what kind of cut numbers you want. Leading T. So in other words, I would be sending a T, a da, da. That's 01. Okay. let's see, send corrected call before end of QSO. Let's say I'm in a CWT and I work David, and I type in VK6M. And I go VK6M, come back to him. He knows, hey, Bill, come on, give me a break here. And so he works the QSO, and he repeats his call sign. No, it's KK6M, Roy, and his number. I can go in and change that to KK6M. And when I say thank you for the QSO, it'll say KK6, thank you. So he knows I've changed it. Everything's fine. So that's what that does. Send corrected call before end of QSO. I don't have to consciously do it myself other than correct a call. Send partial calls. If you only get one, a partial call, you can send that. Contest word spacing. Those are a little bit smaller spacing than a regular, like a short story spacing. So speeds things up a little bit. So anyway, this is where you set that sort of thing up. Digital modes, if you're going to run RIDI or you're going to run FT8 or something like that, this is where you would do that. You're going to run, if you're going to run RIDI, is it AFSK or FSK? So let's see, anything in here? Not too much to change in here. Win key. A lot of us have win keys. That is kind of the, I would say, the number one keyer that contesters use. And this is where, well, David's not sitting there right now, but Ultimatic, we find out that Ultimatic works the best for us. Rather than iambic A or iambic B, this is where you would change it to where when you're running N1MM, your keyer looks at this information, not what you programmed it in before just sitting by itself. You can do that into the keyer. But when you turn on N1MM, it goes, hey, I'm the boss now. This is what we're going to set up. So this is what you do. This is another thing you might think about, whether you want to use the speed pot on the keyer or not. Do you want N1MM to control your speed? Use WinKey speed pot for paddle and keyboard CW only. Okay, so what that's telling me is, and that's why I have set it up, I can set my N1M speed for whatever I want it to be, but I can go up and adjust my speed pot on my WinKeyer for anything I want. So if I want to run at 34 words a minute, the guy, that's running at 20 words a minute, I can reach up, take my speed pot, back it off, and send manually to him at 20 words a minute. So let's see, what else? Mode control. Again, you're using a USB port in this case because this is all interconnections for the radio. So if you don't use a radio and interconnect, you don't have to worry about all this stuff. But it's, RIDI is RIDI. It says RIDI on the KX3. It's going to be RIDI here. Antennas, I don't have to worry about that because I don't have any. Yagis, things like that. You can get it all interconnected. Is where you can change anything you want to with beam headings, things like that. You can all do it. You can sort calls, and in other words, if you want to turn your beam to the northeast, then we'll get into this later too, is the cluster spots. They'll all be lined up to where in the northeast. So you don't have to move your beam all around, northeast, southwest, all over the place. You can work them all at one time. Score reporting can be automated. I don't use that. I just do it myself. I don't broadcast data because if that was a multi-multi, you could set it up to where if all of us had a station and we were working at the same place, then we could broadcast our data to everybody's computer. So you know, David would know what I'm doing. I'd know what he's doing, all that sort of thing. Audio, I don't use sideband, so I don't really, I guess you can do that too. There's codec set up and all. So you can do a automatic voice, you know, record your CQs and things like that so you don't run out of use at the 48th hour of the contest. So anyway, there's a lot of things to go over here. This is the main one. One other thing I want to tell you about here, SO1V, SO2V, SO2R. SO1V, that's the standard VFO operation. Most of you, the first time, probably 100% of you, will go ahead and use the SO1V. Single op, one VFO. That's the AVFO. If you want to run two VFOs at once, it's SO2V. You got two radios and a lot of antennas, SO2R. So that's that guy. So that's real important. Now, windows. This is where you control all the windows that come up. You can turn them off, you can turn them on, doesn't matter. If I don't want, you know, the band map on, you know, I can click it off. I can click it, you know, back on again if I want it. It doesn't really, you can use as many windows as you want, okay? Let's see, there is even a, where is it? Digital interface window. If I clicked on that, if I was in that RIDI contest today, I'd be using the digital interface window. And then I'd have the method of tuning in the RIDI signals, mark and space. You know, it's specially designed just for RIDI, for tuning. Score summary, these are just more windows that you can bring up. WST, there's FT8 stuff. So all kinds of things here that you can use. And then the help is just going back to the web page, N1MM web page. So this is the way it would start out. The next window, so that's a really important window. Now, if I didn't have all that interconnect going on, I'd have this window up here, right here. Then I would go into window. I would say, I want the log window. I would click that and I'd have my log window up here. Now, I wouldn't have my frequency. I'll tune the radio right now and you can see this is changing. So it's talking to one another. You won't have that up there. So when you change bands, you need, so if you want to go to 40 meters, click it. Boom. Guess what? Also told the radio too. Pretty cool. If I change the radio, it'll do the same thing to vice versa to this software program. But there's more stuff on 20, so we'll stay on 20. We'll take a look at the RIDI contest here in a minute. Let's see. What did I want to do next here? Okay, the log window. So let's log somebody. Let's work let's work David. I hear KK6M when I'm on 80 meters. And I type it in. He rips it by me at 40 words a minute, and I barely make it, and I stick it in there. And now there is a tool in here. I want to digress a little bit. No, that's not what I want. I need to go down this a little bit. InterSense message mode. This is one of the top things that you can use and why N1MM is the software that it is. There's a lot of things in a QSO back and forth, and you can do that manually. You can send it manually. You can press F keys. You can see down here at the bottom under KK6M, it has F1, F2. Some underneath this pop-up window, and more. You can do it that way, or you can use ESM. And ESM will automatically send the right exchange just by hitting enter. Enter sends message. So I have that clicked here. Also, let's go down these things here real quick. QSYing wipes the call and spots the QSO in the band map. And we'll probably see that here if I work David here. So I'll work David, and it'll put him on the band map on the left-hand side there of the screen, the furthest left window, and I'll show that here in a minute. To run on CQ frequency, show non-workable spots so I don't try and work the same guys all the time. CQ repeat, I can press the F1 key down here. It'll send QRLs, anybody on the frequency. If not, I can just go ahead and press, or it automatically go into CQ. And I can program down here the repeat time. How many milliseconds between CQs? How much time am I going to give you to come back to me? In this case, I think I've got it on this station around 3 seconds. So I better hear something in 3 seconds, or else I'm calling CQ again automatically. If I hear something I want to stop, the panic stop, holy mackerel, you know, something's gone wrong, something's sending out, I don't want it to do it, or for whatever reason you want it to stop sending, hit escape. That's the red panic button. All stop. Okay, and then enable call history lookup, and we'll look at that right now. So now I hear KK6M. So the first thing I do is hit space key. Look what it did. I didn't type in Roy 2177, but that's what he's going to send me. But that's what I think he's going to send me. Maybe he's not. Maybe somebody's operating KK6M and David is standing back over his shoulder and it's one of his students and his name is Bob. What then? Oh, geez. Bob. Okay. And he's a student. So, oh man, he's a CWA. Okay, good. And now what I'm going to do is if I hit enter, this is what he has sent me, right? In his exchange, when he sends it to me, after I've sent mine to him, I can just type in the difference here, Bob, CWA. Let's hit it. That was my exchange to him. I typed in this from him. Now I hit enter. If I hit enter, you can see it's lit up here in yellow. Log it. I'm not going to click it. I'm going to hit enter. Boom. Just went up into the log. Bob worked him on 14019. And if I extended it out, it'd give me all the other information. There's the time, date, the whole thing. So there's my first CWT contact. That fast. I can turn up the volume here a little bit. Let's work somebody else. Let's work Steve. Okay, all of a sudden I call CQ. Let's see here. Now, by the way, I'm not keying the KX3 right now, by the way. So I would go run. Wait the time. Slow it down. Nobody's answering. Oh, there's Steve. Now, the first time I hit an in, it stopped CQing. So he goes on, N7MQ. Okay, I hit enter. Now look what's lit up here. If I hit enter, this is what it's going to send. It's going to send his call because he's got to know I'm coming back to him and not somebody else. And it's going to send the exchange. Here we go. I'm going to hit enter one time. That's my call, my exchange. Bill 1736. Okay. Now, Steve is going to send me back his exchange. He was going to correct the call if I got the call wrong, but I didn't. So he sends Steve 2215. Cool. I'm looking at this. I'm confirming it. Because the last time I worked KK6M, it was Bob and not Roy. So you always want to look at this if you use it. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. You can type everything in. I would suggest you try and do that the first time because it's great practice. When you're operating fast, it's handy to have. It's just fun to operate fast. So right now, Steve has sent me 2215, and Steve, I'm going to hit enter one more time, and it's going to say thank you, and he'll automatically be in the log. It'll log the queue. Send my call for anybody else. And now we'll go back to CQing. This is how we run. I'm going to stop it. Escape. Stopped. Okay. That's how it works. Now, there's some things, some of the top things that you can do. Let's say that was a bad queue for some reason. It's really kind of a shortcut. And the bottom line, why do we use all board? And it turns out to be fast, and that's the key in contesting is to be fast. The rate, like Morse runner. It's the rate. How fast can you get somebody in and out? One of the things that you can do is keep your hands on the keyboard. If you have to move off the keyboard and use the mouse to move around here and click on different things and change things, and then move your finger and hands back to the keyboard, that takes time. And when you're operating as fast as some of these guys do, you know, that'll slow you down, make you miss things, break your rhythm. So if you can do shortcuts, so much the better. One of the things that you can do is you can delete a QSO from your log, the last one. So you can hit a Control D. Say that maybe that was a bad one. Are you sure you want to remove N7MQ from the log? Yeah. So I don't have to cut and paste and delete or whatever like that. So it's fast. If I want to edit something, edit contact. Now that brings up another window with everything related to that contact in it, and I mean everything. So what if it really wasn't Bob? It was really Roy. I just changed the name to Roy, update it. Boom, now we're Roy, right here. Works out well. Now see, I'm not doing anything that requires a interconnect into the radio or anything. This is just the entry window and the log window, and that's all we're using. So that's as simple as it can be. Just forget about all this other stuff. We'll get into that, but the key of it is it doesn't have to be complicated. But I'm going to get into some of the complicated stuff just so you know about it. It's interesting to know about and why you do your background for your propagation and things like that. By the way, you can see over here, at first, you know, I worked Roy, KK6M. It spotted him on the band map right here. And this is where we're going to go next, as I remember.
Bill?
Yeah. Question.
When you changed his call sign, I mean, when you changed his name, did that also put 2177?
It didn't do anything to it. It didn't change it. I can change any one thing. No, let's see.
But we had Bob's CWA. Did it change Roy to 2177?
Yeah, it was 2177 before.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no. You're right. No, you're right. You're right. Because that was a CWA I'd put in, right? No, I didn't change that. So let's go here. Let's go. Enter. So, okay, there. And now, edit contact. And you'll see CWA, I think, up here somewhere. There we are. Change it. 2177. Update. And if we move this out, 2177. It's just I don't have enough room much in this computer. I could move it over a little bit here. And then now I've changed this. Looks pretty good, right? So we'll use tools and we'll go and save window positions. Now next time I bring it up, it'll be this big. That's how you use it. It's a good idea. Okay, so we totally edited Roy back into the picture and got his right exchange. So that's good. Also, over here on the band map on the left-hand side, you can see a CQ frequency because I was calling CQ at that frequency. It entered it in. So it remembers over here. If I go somewhere else, if I go to search and pounce anywhere else, it'll remember that that's my CQ frequency. If I wanted to come back to it, and if it was still open, I could come right back to it. And also, I worked KK6M right here too, at the same frequency. So I'd put him in there. And it also grayed him out. Notice these other ones are red. Means I worked him before. He's gray. But I know if he was running there, because we did two different enter in the log like a search and pounce. If he was running there, I'd know I worked him before, and I would bypass him the next time I was going through for searching and pouncing. So that's a handy thing to have. And we're going to get into more handy things here in a minute. Let's see here. Get back on schedule. And we pretty much did the log window. We explained that a little bit. And now some of the other, now our next window is a band map, and it also fits together with the top shortcuts. And I think David really likes this shortcut. So I'll do some of the simpler ones first. Look back down here into the entry window, and some of the things that we can do. We can change our CW speed. In other words, we're running right now. We're calling CQ on this frequency. And I'm running at 24 words a minute. And you can change this, how much it changes. This is 2 word a minute increment. So I can go up, and it goes to 26. Or if I find a slow guy and I need to work him down to 14 words a minute, I can do that. So, but also that takes my hand off the keyboard. See, I'm using the mouse here to do this. What if I don't want to do that? What if I want to leave my hands on the keyboard? Well, then I can just use, if I find it, page up, page down. Now my hand's not leaving the keyboard. So lots of shortcuts sort of like that. So page up, page down is another thing to use. The ESM, the ESM, nothing will light up here yellow if the ESM is not used. So if I hit anything that's lit up in yellow, if I hit enter, that's what's going to happen. So if I hit enter right now, it's going to start calling CQ. So that's the number one top shortcut to use. And you can use that whether you're using the radio or not. And of course, the page up, page down. Don't need to interface the radio. The Control D that we did is another top shortcut to delete the last cue. Don't need the radio for that. Now, the Control up and down arrows. You do need the radio for this. And this is for searching and pouncing. As we go through these things, generally what you'll do when you start contesting is you'll be running searching and pouncing. Search for, usually the deal is you tune the radio, you're tuning the dial around, you can see it move here. And I want to work this Japanese guy. Interesting that we can hear too. Let me turn it down a little bit because we don't really need to hear him. Sounds like a rag chew. And that takes time to tune the radio. Okay, now I want to go and work K5LY. So D, 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 D. You know, whoop, past him. Okay, maybe he's there, maybe he's not. Yeah, he just quit transmitting here. So that took time to do that. But what if I did something like this? Changes the radio every time. Control up and down arrows. This is how you work and search and pounce. F-A-S-T, fast. Is he there? No. Is he there? No. Is he there? Yeah, I can work him. Okay. Guess what? Skipped over KK6M because I already worked him. It's grayed out. Now the next guy on the hit list is K3LU. Try to work him. And then let's say there's K3LU. I'm in the search and pounce mode. What do? Hit the enter key. Look at down here. It's yellow. F4. I would have to hit F4. By the way, you can make up, you can't see me. I'll show it to you later. Kind of a little cheat sheet for your F keys if you need. You will need to use them sometimes. But if I wanted to work K3LU right now, I could just hit enter. Called him, right? Call one time, he comes back to me. His name, right? And his exchange is 456, right? So I copied everything down, I got it in there, hit enter again. He wants my exchange. Bill, 1736. We're done. We just worked the guy. I hit, what, enter key twice? He's in the log. Look up the log. K3LU, right under KK6M. We're done. Tell me you can't search and pounce fast this way. So just go up and down, work the next guy, the next guy.
Hey,
Now
Bill,
let's go. Yeah.
to set up the spots in the cluster, to which one do you recommend connecting to get the right spots?
I'm not sure I understood.
Like when you connect to the telnet,
Yeah.
to see, because it pulls from the internet, the spots,
Right.
or, the operators on the band currently. That
He's
is
asking
there,
for which cluster do you connect to? The VE one is the one.
yeah, is there a method to the madness? Is there like a good cluster for North America, or is there,
Oh, there's a lot of good clusters. The VE7CC is a good cluster. There's ways, we haven't got to that window yet, and we'll be talking about that. We need to filter those spots because you can see how fast those spots are going on now. Some of them, I mean, you're getting 5, 10 of them at a time sometimes. There's no way you can read that. This is a RIDI contest. If this was a CW contest, you probably couldn't hardly read that. It would be going so fast. And we're going to go up and look at the guys now in the contest, but you'll pick a cluster. In the West, VE7CC is a pretty big time cluster. So I use that quite a bit. And then I filter those spots because these spots are filtered into US spots only. I'm not interested in somebody spotting, somebody in England spotting a guy in Russia, because I probably can't hear him anyway. Not interested. So I'm interested in things that I could hear maybe here. And so these are US spots only. I can filter it down even further. Say I just want Arizona spots, and there wouldn't be near as many of them. So you can filter, to any degree that you want to. And we'll be talking about that when we get into this window here.
Okay.
And you can filter modes. Now, normally I don't have RIDI coming up here. I just have CW. But today I wanted to show you some spots. Let's go up here, up on top. This is a quick, this is in CW still here. FT8 guys. This is the contest. And let's get up and change the radio. Bingo. These are all the RIDI guys we could work right now if we were on RIDI. And this is out there, K0 and PH. You and I get confused sometimes. We don't, but some of the guys working us do. But here's a good idea on how you could search and pounce these guys, right? So you change, if you had the cluster up here and getting the RIDI spots, you could change the radio, click on one of them. Hey, there's Barry. He's in Denver. He's real close. In fact, I got him into RIDI. Mom. You can hear him work. If we had the RIDI window up here, it would decode his stuff. Remember the digital, I don't have it hooked up right now, but if we had that window up, we'd hear him. He's the guy I went to Christmas Island with, one of the guys. Anyway, if we wanted to work him, there he is here. And we've already brought him into our, double click him on the band map, brings him into the call entry window, everything. This is everything he's sending right now. No, it's not right now, because this is rigged up for a CWT contest. Okay, he's sending a little bit different things, but same guy, Barry. And we could work him. All we have to do is hit enter. It would say K0MP and RIDI in this case, and we'd work him the same way, just like we do a CW contact. If we wanted to keep going, okay, the next guy, K6OK. You can see in the band map window here. Now I'm tuned into him. I can't hear him very well. And there's the guy in Cuba. Maybe I can. You can hear. Can't hear K3JT. A lot of the CW ops are operating in this contest. It turns out, though, you can see how easy you can work these guys. No tuning, not touching the radio at all. Obviously, you need the radio connected for this. So that's one good thing that this software does. Free software does all this stuff. It's amazing to me. So that is the main top shortcuts that I would do if I had N1MM, with the last one requiring the radio to be hooked up. If you got a USB connection or some other type of connection. So you can see we've gone over the band map a little bit on the one on the left here. If we want to work this K0MPH, where did he go here? There he is. I can call him. I'm not going to do it because I'm set up for CW. But if I hit K0 right now and we were on RIDI, it would bring him down into this call area. If this is the hard way to do it. The control up and down arrows is the easy way to do it. But you can click on any one of these, and it'll go right to that frequency. You can see the frequency change on the radio. Or you can go here. Now guess what? This is, well, let's do it in order. This is the band map. You'll have one for VFO-A. Right up here it says VFO-A. There's a lot of configurations you can do just with this band map. You can have it turn the rotor. When you click, on Cuba, on the guy in Cuba, it'll automatically turn your rotor down to the Caribbean to work him. You can really automate a lot of stuff with this. If you're going to work two VFOs, VFO-A and VFO-B, like I had background here, then you'll get two of these windows up here. So VFO-A will be, would be the cursor of the VFO-A, and then you'd have another one over here with the cursor of VFO-B. You could be running on the low end of the band somewhere and be searching and pouncing up here. So all kinds of different things you can do. So we'll get back off of this. A lot of guys on FT8 too. We'll come back down in here in the quiet CW lower part of it here. There's almost nobody on CW right here. Let's see. There's some guys up in here. So let me bring the radio down here. Okay, and the next, after the band map, now of course, band map requires you to interface the radio to get these spots coming in off the cluster. You can do that. So there's a little bit of automation there, but not really with the radio. It's just with the internet to bring these spots into your band map. You'd have to tune your radio if you didn't have it in connected to each one of these spots, though. But at least you know where they were. Okay, now internet cluster. Internet is a whole nother ball game. Depending on what you want to do. These are all color coded, as you can see, in different bands. So you can see, one's coming in on 40 meters, some are coming in on different bands, and they're different colors. They're also different modes. These are all RIDI. The purples are RIDI, the blues are CW. Also, there's a handy little thing here. If I can get it going here. I can't. It tells you the signal strength of the individual signals. So in dB above signal to noise. So that's handy to have. You can tell how strong guys are. Also, in this case, I have the E7CC. If you want to set up this, you'll have to go in and select a cluster. Look at all the clusters. So you have a wide variety of clusters to choose from. So you choose one of those, automatically log in. Sometimes they require you to give a call sign, give your name, kind of thing. Bands and modes. You can filter this even more. Say, like right now, I'm only interested in contesting. I don't use 1mm when I'm doing SOTA, because I use SOTA Watch and it's slow going. So it's, I can just enter things manually in a log. So I just have this set up generally for contest. Right now it's set up for RIDI, which isn't the usual case. It's usually just, I have contest here and CW and that's it. But the bands that you want spots from are here. Now, are you going to get a 30 meter spot? Yep, you're still going to get a spot, but it'll be grayed out, just like, the work cues over here are grayed out. The bands that are still going to be up, but you will not, they won't be put on the band map, and then just, you'll know they're there, but they're not part of the integrated spots in the band map. Filters show non-workable spots. QS wipes calls and puts it in the band map. So if I'm tuning the rig and I find a guy and I call him and I can't work him for some reason, he's got a big pile up on him and I can't get through. I've got his call typed in right in the entry window. I'm ready to work him because I'm calling K0MP all the time. Doesn't come back. Okay, I want to come back to that guy later, but I want to remember where he is. All I have to do is just, that's why I'm just going on to the next portion of the band. It'll automatically insert him in that spot. So let's see, W6TY. Let's see, no, it's not going to work on that because there he is. You can just see him, W6TY. That's the one I just typed in. Now, that'll remember. So I can go on down the band, work these guys down here, and then come back to him. Because he'll still be in red. And if I'm lucky, all these guys will be grayed out. Boom, that guy sticks out in red. I'll come right back to him. Maybe the pileup's gone now, and I can work him. So it's my own spot I generated, essentially. So that's a real handy thing to have. And that's turned on in this cluster window. And the filters include spots only originating in as K and North America and or whatever you want to put in. I generally filter at the cluster itself. I use VE7 CC, and I tell them what I want. And I don't leave that up to N1MM. And why do I do that? Because my computer has enough stuff to keep track of right now. There's lots of things going on this computer. And if it has to do some filtering on top of it, I don't want that to happen. I'd rather have that filtering done by VE7CC and not me. Just give me what I want. You do the filtering. So that's why I don't do anything here. And then randomize incoming spot frequencies. Some people like it, some people don't. And the reason they have it on here is because everybody tends, if it's like it is right here and it's not checked, then the frequency that whoever spotted it or the beacon spotted it at is going to be the frequency. And that's where I'm going to QSY at when I click on his call. If everybody did that, we'd all be 0 beat, right? And the guy'd have a heck of a time picking out calls. Everybody's the same pitch in CW anyway. If you randomize it, it could be off 100 or 50 cycles one way or the other, plus or minus. It's just random, which takes you off frequency a little bit. Sometimes it takes you off frequency too much, I think. I can randomize myself. I don't always call 0 beat on the guy. I'll be high. Generally, I'll be high if I'm anything. If I'm low, if you run first runner, on those low calls, it's hard to pick out those dits, right? How long they last. So I generally am on the high side, but I'd rather tune the radio to do that. If somebody else is calling on the high side, maybe I can be a little bit higher, just a skosh lower on the high side than him. Not just have the computer just assign me some offset frequency. That's my thinking of it. So I don't check that. Spot comment. I don't generally spot. There's enough spots. Those kind of days are almost gone now where individuals spot things. Of course they do in SOTA, but I'm talking about contesting here. The cluster, the beacons, the RBN does a great job of that. So it's just going to be a multiple spot to be filtered out by VE7CC. So
Bill, how'd you decide VE7CC? There were so many choices.
Because he has a very easy way to filter what I want. Some commands that I can send in directly to the cluster to only have US spots, to only, give me CW spots or whatever I want. And we can talk about this in class sometime. There's a command you can send into the cluster that will make all this happen. So it's just an ease of operation. And plus he is a large cluster. He doesn't go down in big contests. A lot of them, if you got a little, I used to run a cluster in Denver when I lived in Parker, little bitty one. And gee whiz, that was a long time ago, but if the cluster goes down in a contest, that is not good at all, because you want those spots coming in. So if you can't trust your cluster, who can you trust? So it's a good idea to pick a large one. If you pick one like K1 TTT back in East Coast, big time, for the Yankee Clipper Contest Club and what do I want to call it? Well, anyway, the other big contest club up there, they get full up. I mean, they get hundreds of guys signing in. And so they can't take any more. So if you come in late in a contest, then, you may not get in and say cluster full. Uh-oh, now what? So try to pick one that's at least on your side of the United States, and a fairly large one that's reliable. Go down and make a large number of people in it. So anyway, you can set bands here. Again, you can do that with VE7CC. That's why I do that. And again, I don't want my computer to be doing all this filtering along with all this other stuff. So that's why I have the cluster do it. So I don't use all these filters in here. So let's get back to the clusters, the spots. Now, if you look at the RBN spots worldwide right now, they'd be whirling. You wouldn't see anything. So you gotta filter. Multiplier window, which is really, really important, almost more important than this guy here. You can do the same thing that we were talking about here, over here, but these are all going to be multipliers. Remember what I said at the beginning? You work multiplier numero uno. If there's a new multiplier, you want it. Okay, so you can just start here and work your way up. Click on it, and you can do the control up and just go right on up the scale and work multipliers.
How do you get to that window? Is it from?
All these windows are available right here.
Through window.
Queues and mults. Available queues and mults right here. Click on that, and that window comes up. Here. So all the windows are right there, every one of them, and plus some that aren't shown here. This is very, very good here to have. This will tell you what bands you should be on. How do I know? Because I'm not a big station. I don't have many antennas and radios going on at the same time. What's the hot band right now? Well, guess which one the hot band is right now. Probably not right here, because you got to use this information with a grain of salt. This is radio propagation talking here. 40 meters is big. 40 meters is big. But not much bigger than 20 meters. These are the available cues on from these spots on those bands available right now. Maybe or maybe are not. Probably not on 40, because 40 is not open right now, long haul. So my band would be 20. So even though this says red, this is the band to be on? Yeah, because I'm getting all US spots. And guess where and look at over here on the band map, not a band map, but the gray line map. These are people calling CQ. Most of them are on the East Coast. Look at on the West Coast. As usual, not too many. So these are the guys that are calling calling spots right now. And guess what? 40 meters. I'm skipping ahead now, but this is a hot time. And I'm going to do it anyway. Let me move you guys out of the way. Your picture is covering it. You can see this thing is going. Europe is hot right now. They're calling CQ. East Coast is hot down into the Caribbean. This is the hot spots. Why? Look at the gray line coming right in over the East Coast, right? Sundown, getting to be sundown. Hot time of the day. This is the magic time. Daylight and sunset. We're still here in daylight. So we're looking for spots out here. I don't see a whole lot of them out here, do you? That's the problem with the West. So we got to go through these guys to get to these guys if we have propagation. And we'll be going, you know, on a good circle route up here like that and then down like this. This is why it's so hard to work. I'm going off into DX land here, but it's why it's so hard to work down into the Indian Ocean and into this area in here, because to work that, we're going up here over Iceland, Greenland area, coming back down through a whole lot of Europeans calling the same guy that are really loud because we've already. If we want to get to the Indian Ocean down here and work the Seychelles or something, that's a tough row to hoe. So we have to be on our toes to do that. So that's why this gray line map is a good thing. That's kind of out of our out of line here with what I'm doing, but it fits together. All these things, these little windows fit together. You know, why would 40, if I went to 40 meters right now, which I can do, there's 40 meters. And there are the available cues I can make. Now, am I going to hear all this DX here? I wish I could, but I doubt it. But there's going to be a lot of US guys in here. Remember the like 2 CW guys, because you got a mark in the space. So they're a little bit wider than we are in CW. So anyway, you got to use your head a little bit on the propagation. No, 40 is not really the band I'd want to be on right now in Arizona at this second, but I would stay on 20. So, and these are the available mults, realizing that, you know, this is set up for CWT, but these would be the available mults. So 40 and 20, if I could take this at face value, they'd be equal in mults. I could, if I could, you know, jump down here to 40 meters and try to work a few mults down here, a few of the 7, jump back to 20 and get some more cues. But we always want to get these mults because this multiplies these. You know, if I work 10 Californians, you know, and that's all I work is 1 times 10 is 10. But if I work 10 different states, if we're doing states, 10 times 10 is 100. Big difference. So that's how important these mults are. So you always want to be chasing these. So let's see. That's the multiplier window. There's the info window. Info window is this guy down here, and that tells you a whole lot of stuff. Let me move you guys again because you're covering it. AI4UN happens to be up for a call entry here. It tells me AI4UN down here, this is the info window. We're on 14050.5. There's his signal strength. He's not too all that strong. He's going 13 words a minute. He's in the United States. His time, sunrise and sunset, it gives here. Now that might be interesting a little bit, but DX-wise, it would be interesting because then you'd be using these times in conjunction with this gray line map up here. And you'd be waiting for his sunset or sunrise. And then down here, it gives you, sunspots. The A and K index, solar flux, 72. Down here in this window, info window, it's a QSO rate window. How many Qs have you done in the last 10 minutes, the last, 100 minutes, last 60 minutes, kind of a thing. Of course, you want that to be high. We haven't done anything for quite a while in entering, so we're pretty low. And this is kind of a graphic representation, of what this says here. This is kind of a graph, and it'll go up like this and down, whatever. This is real good. This is, I use this a lot. And this is how many minutes and seconds since I last entered a QSO. And when you start running, that makes a big deal, because I don't want to be running for 28 minutes and 13 seconds without a contact. Tells me I better start searching and pouncing after about 2 minutes. Now, if I enter in a contact, see, we're back here in the CW band, yeah. And we'll do a fake thing here. Doesn't matter. Pod. I don't know if I hit a D or not. Maybe I did. And enter some numbers. Doesn't matter. Logged him. That was that quick. But look, here's the timer. Just changed. Now it's been 8 seconds since I entered him. So that'll go on and for 2 minutes. If I don't get another contact while I'm calling CQ in 2 minutes, it's my little rule, for me anyway, that I'll probably go to searching and pouncing. And I'll be doing the control alt. I'll be using, if it's mults I'm looking for, I'll be using this. If it's just Qs, I might be using this, but I'll just be going kerchunk, kerchunk, seeing if they're there. If they're there, call them. Chunk, 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 go through the whole band all the way up. Maybe come back to my CQ frequency again if it's still open. Start CQing again. Might get new guys, but alternate back and forth. You can't stay CQing forever, because it won't be beneficial to you. Your rate will go down if you're not making Qs. Have a choice of running or searching and pouncing. There is no question whatsoever, ever, because you can, when you're good, after you study in a few years and all that, there's no reason why you can't get in the 200s, 200 an hour. Now we're talking about in level 2 is like 40, 60. Well, that could be 200 plus. Why not? I mean, if you're hauling, David, are you awake there? David, I think, can do something like 80 an hour. Okay, but that still doesn't hold a candle to running. So if you can run, run. That's the key. Okay. Score. This just keeps track of your score. Now this is a CWT. We're on 20 meters, 14 QSOs. We've done 3. We've entered them in here. You can make this call window much bigger, and you'll see a lot more of your Qs. Points. Because this is a CWT, we're not working DX with big multipliers. Everybody's a multiplier if he's new in a new one that you've worked in the CWT. So they're all multipliers, and they're all points. So everybody's a point. So you can see 3 times 3 is 9. So my score is 9. I have 1 multiplier because they're all US guys. That's why. A check log window. This is an interesting window here. At first you may not want it, but sometimes it can help. Sometimes I work some Japanese in CWTs. Sometimes they're real weak. And so I can start in here and I'll, let's say I'm running, and I can go, maybe use a JA, I don't know, 7. I, maybe an X, not an X would be not a good one for a demo here. E, and I can't get the last. There's a character, but I don't know what it is. He faded out. JA7IE, and then well, I can go up to the check log up here, and guess what? This gives me all the possibilities that he could be. JA1IE. Well, if I really think it was a 7. I didn't make a mistake. You know, it's a JA7 for sure. Well, there's no JA7IE up here. That's a possibility. Now, it could be a new guy. This is a guess now. It could be an IC. Could be JA7IC. He calls again. Sure enough, it's an IC. I go back a space, hit a C. Boom. Guess what? He lights up in red. Everything's cool here. And it kind of helped me, you know, enter the correct call in there. You don't want busted calls in contests. So this call check window up here is really beneficial sometimes. Now, as you remember, when we went down here, in fact, let's wipe. You can do a wipe log with a F12 down here, F12. I'll hit F12. Wipe the guy out. Let's do okay. Now, if we're trying to work David again, look at all the possibilities there. So David is one of them, but he's already in the log. Guess what? He's already in the log. And guess what? He's grayed out, which means he's in the log. So if I come up with another KK6, I know it's not David because I already worked him. So it's going to be one of these guys. Now, the way, let's get rid of him. About is, as you remember, download, install, latest call check partial master file. Remember when we went through that and I said, this is a big file. It has all the people that generally contest in it. That's where a lot of those calls come from. Also, you can enter in your own special calls, CW op calls. If you want to work the CW op guys, then there's a special file for that. And enable call history lookup. Okay, that will enable us to look up the special files for the CW ops. And those files are right in here. Associated files, CW ops 2448. Okay, and I can, well, you guys are in the way again, so I have to move you over. You can change them. It'll automatically update it. If I hit this right now, it will update that call history file. Do I want to update? Yeah, there's a new file coming out. I got 48. Looks like 49 is here. Say yes. Boom. Hit OK. Probably new CW op, you know, got put in. And we're good. We're good. So I'm all up to date with CW op guys. It's that easy. I don't have to go to a website, cut and paste it into this program and all like we used to have to do. Okay. We already did the gray line. Wow, look at Europe light up. Look at this stuff going on here. 40 is going bananas. Look at this. Japan's coming in. They're pretty close to their sundown. Wouldn't that be their sundown? No, sunrise over there. So possible, you know, you can get JAVK. There's ZL right here. So you can look for DX here. This, you know, always look along this gray line. This is the hot part right here, the transition. Light to dark is kind of hard, but dark to dark is fine. Light to dark, you know, can be okay. Gray line to gray line, that's what you want to do. Okay. So that pretty much goes over all the windows that are up here. Like I said, you don't need only but this window, the call entry window, and the log window up to get started with N1MM. That's all you need. You don't need your radio hooked up, nothing. You just operate in a manual mode. So let's go back to once our contest is done. Anybody have any questions on these windows? You probably do, but
No, it's super helpful. That VFO window is fantastic because if you have to tune around blind, it takes a lot of time finding
oh yeah.
the right guys. So I'll probably pick up a couple more contacts in the CWTs.
Oh, you will. Yeah, a lot more. Yeah, definitely. So it's really worthwhile to interconnect that radio. And let's see here. Let me get back to where we were. Okay. Now you should just be seeing the N1MM where we left off with the pictures. This is essentially what I see on my bigger station. I have more room. This is a larger screen. I don't know, it's a 23 inch or something. And you can see here the two VFOs, A and B VFO. All the same band, just different parts of the band. This happens to be on 40 meters right now. And all the mults that are available. This is during a CWT. Look at all these things. You could just chunk all the way up there. Control up, or down, whichever you want. You'll see two entry windows here. We'll just kind of glaze over this a little bit. This is the usual entry window that we talked about before. This is the BVFO entry window. So things get a lot more complicated. You call CQ, you can't transmit, at the same time on both VFOs. So you have to time your CQs, and work guys in. If I wanted to work W5TM, I'd have to, and he was ready, just finishing up a queue, then I could automatically switch over to BVFO, call him in search and pounce mode, try and work him, and then as soon as I'm done working him, come back to here. Hopefully my CQ frequency is still open, and away I go. And then I can, with my other ear, because I can listen to them both at the same time, I can kerchunk down to the next one. W5TM is here, really, and go to N4AF, let's say, and wait till he's done, stop my CQ or finish the CQ QSO that I'm already doing. And then when I'm finished, don't call CQ again, switch over to this guy, work him, switch back. That's how it works, back and forth, back and forth. Lots of things going on. So next, we got to submit our score. So let's just talk about, turn down the radio here. Let's talk about submitting the score. This happens to be a CWT contest we're talking about. So there's there is a web page available called 3830. And this is where you do a lot of things. You go in here and remember when we were figuring out our strategy, what category we were gonna go in a contest. So we want to go back to past contests and see who's doing what to who here, and see if we can fit into where we could be competitive. This is where you'd click right here, contest summaries, and it would just go down whatever contest you want and then whatever year you want. So contest summaries, that's where that is. So we finished the CWT now, and I want to enter it. This happens to be ODARC 30, so 1300 in the morning. I click this guy. I don't go over here. This is already submitted scores, okay? So not interested, unless you're just looking. But if you want to submit, it's the yellow. So click on this one time. This is what you're going to see. So all I got to do is type in my, if I want a copy of it, email address, send it to my email, click K0NP, call used, me, K0NP. Be sure to put this one in here because sometimes it gets messed up. You can have different operators on different stations. So K0MP, K0MP. Don't have to worry about this. Single op, it's already filled out. I'm a single op. Power, click on that. Low power, high power, whatever I am at the time. I'm not SO2R and I'm not a remote, so I don't have to check that. You don't have to put in, of course, the red circles are what you have to put in. So I don't have to put in op time if I want. If I did the whole hour, I put in a 1 here. If I did 30 minutes, I put 30 MIN in here. I put in the QT8. Some people, you can't never tell, where a guy's from really by his call. So I put in AZ. If you want to if you're part of a contest club, or you can put that in there. And then here's where you put in your score. CWTs and CW ops are a little different than other contests. Let's call them the big time contests. CQ Worldwide, ARRLDX. You have to submit directly to the sponsor. The reason that you do this directly after the contest is just to kind of see how you shake out. Like I said before, these are going to be raw scores. You may have some mistakes in your log. The contest sponsors will figure that out. But right now, if you're interested how you did, submit to 3830, and you can see how you placed. So in my case, it's 40 meters. So I would put a 0 in 160, a 0 in 80, however many cues I made on 40, 0 on 20 if I didn't do on 20. You can do multiple bands. You can do all these bands if it's open, obviously, and put in zeros on the bands you didn't operate on. And then your total, too bad this is on here, but this is your total right here, just the total cues, adding them all up. And these are your total multipliers, because you get a multiplier for every band. So if I work David on 40 meters, and then I work David again on 80 meters, that's a second mult. No, it's not. It's not a mult. It has to be new people. So you could have different amounts of mults on different bands. So if I work David on one band, he's done. He's a mult, he's done. On any band I work him on, I can work him for a cue, but not for a mult. Hope that's clear enough. So that's the total number of mults added up that you have for all the bands. And you get that from your, you can't see it up here, but remember that little score window that was up there, the cues and the mults. You just copy it right out of that window. And then your total score, which will be in that same window. Score, the total score. Type that in there. And then down here it'll say click, submit, click. And then what I would do, if something doesn't add up here, like the mults and the cues don't add up to your total score, it'll say, nope, refigure something here. Or you left something out, it'll go, nope, not submitting it. Please fill out, whatever. So it's really good about that. And then what I do is I go back to the 3830, the main page, and then I'll go up here and I'll click on the 1300 Zulu and make sure that K0MP is in there, that something didn't happen, so just make sure that you're listed, because this is what's different about the CW Ops. This is the score. They are the sponsor. This is the sponsor. This is the one and only place you put in your score for credit. If you put in CQ Worldwide score just into this, you won't get credit. It's not like you did it at all. So you need to put it into CQ Worldwide, those guys. But you can do it in here too, just to see how you are doing, because it may take you 6 months to find out how you're doing by the time the sponsors get through massaging it, okay? This is instant gratification. You can get it, within a day or so. People dribble their scores in, but within a short period of time, you'll know how you did. Now they're saying that some people don't submit in here You know, I'm going to lay in the weeds and I'll really surprise these guys. I won't submit to 3830. There's guys like that too. But most people do. Most of the big guys do. All right, let's see here. Then, this is the entry where you enter your score. This is above and beyond the call of duty. If you really want to analyze how you did, big contest stations use this. I like to play big contest stations, even if it's just to know what they do. I'm not a big contest station. This will give you a blow-by-blow description of what you did in that contest, who you worked, where you worked them, how many, you know, the sunrise, sunset times when you worked them. For instance, and I'm not going to bring up all these slides, thank goodness. This is the main, obviously the main page of it. This is just a CWT, so this is not a DX. It would be a lot more interesting if it was a DX contest. But this time I happened to work 106 Qs. 105 were unique. That's hard to do. It's not, that's the propagation, that's not me. But I'm, unique means I didn't work, 105 of those guys were one of a kinds. So that's pretty good. So it was a good night. I worked 59 minutes, so I worked almost, you know, the whole hour pretty much. But even with me, I can't really tell. I might have been probably multiple bands, but all I have here is verticals. So what is antennas going to do for me? You know, what are beam headings for me? Well, let's take a look here. Look at that. This is interesting. Now, keep in mind I'm using a vertical antenna. Now, but it says 34% of my Qs were at 60 to 69 degrees azimuth. I also have a loop that I use, a receiving loop, that is directional. So that would lead me to believe, wouldn't it, that I should point that loop around 60 to 70 degrees. It's a wide enough loop where I'll gather other people. So this is a bit of information that's good. Also, SOTA information if you're working in Arizona. This is how I set up my ANFED. It's the same thing, whether I'm sitting here or 8 miles away on top of Mount Lemmon. Gee whiz, you know, I just set it up at about 60 degrees, 60 degrees for the horizontal, trying to get to the East Coast. It'll automatically get over opposite side because it's kind of a dipole operation down to the southwest. So this is a pretty good area for me. So that's how I just don't put up my antennas willy-nilly in SOTA operations. So here you go. Here's a darn CWT giving me information that I can use on SOTA. Whoa, that's pretty cool. So that kind of a thing, that's what I'm talking about. Analyzing your station, finding out, you know, maybe your antenna was pointed somewhere else, but still you're getting most of the cues in this direction here. You might want to optimize your antenna. So, and I wanted to show you one other thing here. I think we're done. Yeah, we're done with the pictures. Just because we can do it. Let's go back to the screen. And you guys back the pen adapter and the whole thing, right? I hope you are. Now, right now, we're sitting on 20 meters, looking at the CW band. And I'm on the loop. I'm on a receiving loop. I've got a quarter wave vertical and 8 radials on it at 10 feet. So I can walk underneath them. That's what we're receiving on, transmitting on. But we're receiving on this loop. Let me take that loop off and start receiving on the vertical. See the noise floor come up? come up quite a bit. You can start to see the white kind of flaky stuff here, and that's all noise. So in soda operations, where we're looking at QRP all the time, I can drop that baby way down and hear some weak stuff. Okay. I live in an HOA. I got plasma TVs galore around me. Okay. As a matter of fact, I have one. I can show you a big difference by turning that on and turning the loop on and off. My gosh, it's a make or break deal. So anyway, if you can optimize your transmitting antennas, put it up towers and stuff, you can optimize your loop. And the loop it's got a little TV rotor on it, so I can move it anywhere I want. As a matter of fact, it's pointed toward the about 60 degrees right now. But I can point it, like if I wanted to work soda, and I work a lot of Colorado, of course, George and Steve and all those guys, and most of it's north-south. So I turn that loop north-south, and that peaks them up. So it's a worthwhile deal. It's a DX engineering one. That's not a plug for them. It's just what I use. But I couldn't hardly get along without it. I know I wouldn't do as well as I do without it. So that's pretty much the story. Anybody got any questions on the whole talk? Anything? All right. Well, let me get back here. We'll stop the share. There we go. It was good to talk with you guys today. It's a lot of information, I know, but start off slow. I mean, I didn't start off with all this stuff. I kind of grew into it, and it's fun to do. You'll learn a lot, and I really suggest you try contesting because you'll learn a lot in your CW skills. Just listening. But you can log. You can do an SWL log. Just try it out with N1MM. Log it. You don't need to transmit. Whatever. So it's a good way to learn, and a good way to learn contesting software. Almost all of them work pretty much the same way. So no other questions.
I have a question.
Live software is cool.
Okay, who had the question?
Go ahead.
Robert.
Robert, okay.
Yeah, where did you get that? Where you showing the beam heading? How do you get that? I think I missed it.
Oh, I should have explained that more. It's called,
Is it
it's another software program. Probably a lot of people don't have it. It costs about $50 to get it. It's
20. I just
yeah, money.
downloaded.
SH5, it's called SH5. So that's what that software program is. What you do is you load in your ADIF file. Remember, export.
yeah?
Load that baby in there, and it'll give you all that information.
Okay.
So I just downloaded it because I just Googled it when I saw it. I was like, and that's a really cool looking software. It'll do 200 Qs and less for free. If you want to do more than 200 Qs, then it costs $20, it says.
Okay, maybe it went down there. Good. Well, it's kind of worth it if you're really
it's
into
really
it.
cool. I loaded one of the North American
Yeah.
contest into it. It's neat.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's not necessary. That's just kind of a frilly kind of thing, but it's kind of fun. You'll glean some information off of it, definitely. And it'll really light up when you start doing a DX contest, working all kinds of different stuff. Kind of boring with CWP. That's what I had demo. Anybody else have any questions?
This was my fourth time sitting through this, and I learned something every time.
Oh, did you?
Every time.
Me too.
Well, I'm glad. And it was a pleasure doing it. It really is. And it's a lot of fun. It'll open up a lot of windows. You may not want to do the contesting right now. You know about it. So sometime, when your skills are up and you're ready to go, give it a try. It's really worth it.
Which one of those files do you download for the N1MM? Because I tried it.